How do you multiply vectors together? Well, it turns out there are two different types of multiplication that we use for vectors. One is called the dot product. So the dot product of vector A and vector B is written like this, with a dot between them. And that's actually a scalar number, just a number, not a vector. And there's the cross product, also known as the vector product, which is written like this. And that gives you a vector. Now, why on earth do we have two different sorts of multiplication? Well, I guess it's kind of historical accident, but the reason we have both is because they both turn out to be useful in different situations. The dot product is very useful for working out components of one vector along the direction of another vector. The cross product is useful in things like angular momentum and magnetic fields. So we'll use both, and they are both widely used within physics. For the moment, let's look at the dot product, the scalar product. Now, if we have two vectors, A and B, and there's some angle theta between them. Now, I can't draw a line for the scalar product because it's a scalar, not a vector. But the strength of it, the dot product, is equal to the strength of the first vector times the strength of the second vector times the cosine of the angle between them. So what does that mean? If the two vectors point in the same direction, then theta is 0, cos theta is 1, so the dot product is just the strength of one times the strength of the other. If they're at right angles, theta is 90 degrees, cos theta is 0, so the dot product is always 0. So the dot product between any two vectors that are at right angles is always 0. If they're in opposite directions, then theta is 180 degrees, cos theta is minus 1, so the dot product is the length of one times the length of the other, all with a minus sign. In coordinate terms, if we define our vectors in the usual way, so that A is got components and B has components like this, then the dot product, which is not a vector, so it won't have the x hat, y hat, and z hat in that, is just the two x components multiplied together plus the two y components multiplied together plus the two z components multiplied together.